And what I noticed about that, and it's a beautiful set of images, and they develop and expand, and you go through nature. It's like some of it's droney, you're flying over and you go into space. It's really just pretty, very cool. It was packed. There were not one seat left. That's how cool it was, with people saying, want to go back and see that again. And what I noticed about that from my own practice was that uh, I was just nodding the whole time, like, yes, this is the truth of objects in space. Um, they appear and disappear. They're brilliant and then fade. They morph into other images, right? And I thought, gosh, if this is what death is like, I'm well prepared. The part that, so from an object point of view, um, meditation allows you a stillness in the face of all objects, including the demons, including the beautiful, including the horrific, including death, including life, right? Really, I think this practice prepares us for all of life wholeheartedly, and are opening to that over and over again, moment by moment. And so I wanted to talk today about incarnation. Incarnation. Incarnation is what I believe we are celebrating in this traditional Christian time. And we talked last week about Advent. Advent, actually, the words I used, I think the last 2 weeks, were words like preparation, resting in stillness. Can you imagine this idea of this awaiting, might be a word, for what? The coming, the incarnation, the taking form from the formless, right? Can you imagine this without placing a belief on it, right? Called that's only Christ, or that's David, or you don't have to add an ism, really, do you, to it at all. We're going to practice today resting in that stillness, and then the incarnation, which in the Christian culture is going to be coming, they've picked tomorrow, right? The arrival, the star, the light, as we did on Thursday, we'll do it again. This moving from darkness, right, into light that is always available. It isn't a day then, is it? It isn't a moment. It is every moment, every day, this taking form into from non-being. And the Christian tradition has a beautiful myth around that, which is Mary waiting. And there's words in the Bible that I also love that feed so beautifully our truth. Mary conceives of the birth before the arrival. This is sort of the first, like, intention, right? There it is. Like, before anything, she's saying, wait a minute, this is important. This conception, right? Which begins in mind well before the actual birth or the arrival of this light. And isn't it true? Isn't it true in your own practice? Yeah, you have to intention all of the stillness, you have to intention the practice, you have to intention arrival, presence, maybe we could say. There's a couple things that I find interesting about the Christian tradition in particular. And I was slightly a student of theology in my undergraduate work. There is a thing besides Advent in the Christian tradition, that preparation. I used words also like approach, the coming to, before the arrival. The 12 days of Christmas are actually from tomorrow. We get this mixed up, don't we? We think the 12 days are the 12 before in the darkness. Not at all. Actually, the 12 days of Christmas begin tomorrow, and they go for 12 days to January 6th. And guess what happens then? January 6th is the Epiphany. Isn't this cool? Gives me goosebumps. The Epiphany. Guess what the Epiphany is? Oh, I see. Oh, the light. It's meaningful. It has benefit. There's value. The Epiphany, January 6th, is really 12 days after the birth, 12 days after, really just being with now, right? In form. What do you do with this, right? Like, I got the incarnation, now what, right? I don't know. It's some interesting, well, 12 days in the 12th day, Epiphany. And the Epiphany is what? That knowing, oh, this life, this form, this possibility, this opportunity. And then, by the way, from Christmas, 40 days, also very important in the liturgies, 40 days. That's my birthday, by the way, February 2nd, 40 days from form, from the birth. On February 2nd, there is the realization, the full arrival. And then, of course, we begin very soon after the, what do they call that? Lent, right? A process of shedding that which is not needed. So now you're fully born, fully blown, got me, big bloom. And now we go, whoops, we can't hold on to this. We're not going to get to keep it. It doesn't stay permanently, this incarnation. And a whole process begins again of giving up material form. It's not going to hold. Better watch that. All the candy I can eat, it's not going to make it either. My best sexual moment, forget about it. My healthy body, best foods, you name it. What does it say? Nope, it's not going to get it. So for 40 more days, here's that 40 again. What do? We're preparing in some beautiful way for the transition, right? Isn't that beautiful? It's just like a lovely understanding of its reality. Well, we're practicing all of that in our meditation practice as well, aren't we? Exactly the same, really. We set the intention, we rest. There is an awaiting. There's not just and then bang. It takes a couple of breaths, right? We're just in it. Wait a minute, little stuff starting to fall away, starting to see, remembering stillness, right? The incarnation, and then the letting be, resting in that being, letting be. And then ultimately, even that, they say, and in the Zen tradition in particular, they say, and you will let go of everything, including this idea of enlightenment, including the idea of freedom, the ideas of happiness, right? All concepts eventually fall away. So we're going to practice that today. But I thought I'd tell that story a little bit. All you Christians out there, half of you don't know that. When I say to people, well, the Epiphany's coming, they like, what? What's the Epiphany? What Epiphany? What day is that? Mostly don't know. This is the nature, I think, of concepts only. They don't hold very well, do they? We were taught concepts. We were not taught how to embody the Epiphany. We were taught the word, and then we were taught the idea, and then we were taught to believe it, but we weren't taught how to practice it. And actually, one of the things I love about things like centering prayer and meditation practice and breath work is that it's a practice. It's a practice. And Siobhan is smiling because she and I have had some beautiful exchanges around practice that we're going to talk about on Tuesday. because what is it? What isn't it? When are we doing it? And we've been focusing on something called laziness. Laziness, the three forms of lazy called, I can find almost any reason out there, including I already got it going on, not to practice, and they're all false. And they're all false. Ajishanti's rolling his eyes at me right now. As I say this, I know. But there are some reasons that we know in the neuroscience that we'll talk about on Tuesday. And so we're going to find a upright, dignified posture. And we've been practicing non-meditation meditation, which you can choose today, which is just resting the eye, following the line of the nose out in open space. And you're resting there without seeing. You're not using the eye door, you're just resting it. That's one option. The other option is to just decide, I don't need all of that form right now. I'm just going to move into experiencing. And then you can find this sense of this whole body sitting here. And then I'm going to recite the Bodhisattva chant and see what that means for you today. See what that means. And it goes something like this. O Bodhicitta, awakened heart mind, precious and sublime. May you arise where you have not yet come to be. And where you have arisen, may you never diminish, but grow and flourish evermore and more. Where that's an incantation, you could call it. For what? The light, clear seeing, open-heartedness. May that in me be awakened, alive, and present this moment. That's the aspiration. I'll strike the bell, even though in non-meditation meditation, there is no starting, stopping. And so finding your object, resting the mind, whether that's open space, the breath itself, the whole body breath. So we have conceived of this possibility of awakening. And now we're simply resting in its energy. We're resting in the intention. And we're cultivating a stable, purified, might even say unified mind. And you don't have to think about that. It won't be helpful. We're simply resting in our selected object. Invite the inspiration of the in-breath and smile, alive, present, arriving here and now. And in this Advent, we rest in stillness. And that doesn't mean the world stops. That means we stabilize the mind. We do that by attending to the breath, by resting in open space, letting all objects simply appear and disappear in the background. And what you'll notice in early phase of practice is you cannot set the intention as a concept. It requires a realization every breath. And we all play with that a little bit at the beginning of the practice. Like, I think I'm just going to put it there and then it's going to stay. Well, no, it requires more awakening every breath. And just as in the birth, we rest in the intention, the conception, but we make it real breath by breath. We arrive again and again. And from the darkness comes the light, with the stilling, the quiet, the spaciousness, the silence. We see the light of awareness. We sense and know the light of awareness, even recognizing darkness, stillness, silence. And we simply rest and let it be known. There's nothing to have to fill or do. This is a part of the training. Rest in dwelling, in stillness, without needing to fill it or take form. And from the darkness, you begin to see with that unified and stabilized mind, that light of awareness, the true nature of all things. The truth of impermanence, the coming and going, the conditionality, the impermanence of all things. And consequently, with that wisdom, we learn not to grab, not to grip, not to try to keep, not a thought, not a sound, not a sensation. We simply rest in that stillness, allowing, then inviting all incarnations, sounds, sights, sensations, thoughts to simply arise and pass. No clinging, no rejection, no struggle. Beyond the body, beyond the sense doors, beyond the mind of thoughts. We invite and embody that light of awareness each breath. This is the training. And we greet whatever then arises, whatever objects, whatever thoughts, whatever sounds, whatever sensations. We greet them unconditionally, but we don't mistake it any longer as me or mine. There is no storyline or narrative that comes along. There is simply the arising, the appearance, and the passing. But the light shines ever bright. It does not diminish. It does not get fearful or exhausted. by that conception, by that intention. It alights breath by breath. And the angel came to Mary and said, a child will be born unto you. You will be gifted this precious form, this taking form. This is the intention moving into embodiment, incarnation, and then from this intention of awareness, the appearance. We see things clearly. We are open-hearted. We breathe it in. What will I do with this one precious human? This one. But this is not all there is. There is, of course, the conception, the intention, the appearance, the arrival, and then the response. This is interesting to me. I have not always understood this. And then we show up and respond. And what is your response? How do we embody that clear seeing mind, that wide open heart? We light the candle, we say the prayer, and we show up. And in whatever spiritual traditions are familiar for you, it says, and we show up with wisdom, with love and compassion. From the clear seeing light, there is really only the open hearted response. And this is that unconditional friendliness, that self compassion, that feeling, truly feeling the heart trembling for oneself and for all those others just like me who have this human incarnation too. And yes, in this human life, there is greed, hatred, aggression, ignorance, unskillfulness, deception, disappointments. It's all true. And in the light of awareness, we see clearly. The path to suffering, all the grabbing, all the clinging, all the wanting, all that not wanting, and all the suffering. And we make contact, real contact with the suffering. We know this ourselves. And so we feel both for ourselves and our grabbing and our clinging and our wanting and not wanting, our own craving nature. We see it clearly and we see the path of suffering. And consequently, we feel for ourselves, opening us more so that we can also see the path to its end. And we do that every breath. We don't grab the thought, we don't grab the sound, we don't grab the sensation, we don't grab the idea. And in that very seeing, we become the light. And we rest once again in that presence. Most important, always first. And then we respond. And the first response, something we'll be talking about next week, is the response of generosity, dana paramita, generosity. But rather than think of this as giving a thing, let's think about generosity of heart, mind. We show up, we arrive, we awaken, we shine, and not just for ourselves. May we all be filled with loving kindness and be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. And may we be happy, truly happy. And may this practice on this very last day of Advent, may it contribute And as my teacher would say, and then it will be a very good day. And how can it not be? Really, how can it not be? And now it doesn't even matter what happens, does it? It doesn't matter if you get the gift or you didn't get the gift, or if the turkey comes out, or the prime rib at Lazy Acres didn't. There were, we literally had a riot in the parking lot of Lazy Acres yesterday because their credit card machine broke. The whole thing. And so people, of course, were showing up in the craziness of the day to buy their $100+ prime ribs and turkeys and whatever else people eat on special days. And they couldn't get them because they didn't have the cash. Yeah. And it got crazy because people are going, no, I want my prime rib because I came from Carlsbad to get this thing. And can't give it to you because credit card machine's not working. No, give me the prime rib. And so it got scary. I mean, like, people were very, very, very agitated. Very agitated. Now we're all smiling because we know this, right?
Yeah.
We know. Yeah, like, oh no, I'm not leaving without my prime rib, folks. And I don't care what else needs to happen. Yeah. So now people are figuring out the ATM machine next door at Peabody's. Well, they could get over there. And so there's a mayhem thing. And then, well, but we could go over to the other shops and see if we couldn't get cash for the credit. Yeah. And the shop, it was quite interesting. And if you're paying attention, not only do you smile, but you understand, right? Really, you understand what comes with craving. It's not confusing. And it's not the other guy, it's us. There's no other guy in the Lazy Acres. There's just me wanting my cough drops, going, what are you all doing? You're all crazy. All of us in a certain wanting or not wanting. And without that stillness, without that resting with, right, you can see how quickly, really, right, one half breath, not even later, in this most holy season, how it all goes to hell. And how it does it for us, doesn't it? This is not about anybody else on any other day at any store. This is us going, yeah, but it should go this way, or it should, or people should be patient, or they should be caring, or they should be understanding, or I should be this and you should be that, making for the suffering, making for the suffering, right? And we all know about it, which is how we can smile. And then how do we, in a certain stillness, watching all the motion, watching all the activity, watching all the distress, and the Rhea has decided to come join us. This is what then do we do? Let me ask this question. What then did you notice in the practice is the greatest contribution to the end of suffering? Right from your own practice. What do you know? In the mayhem, called this human incarnation, by the way. I'm going to show everyone. This is my not cat. This is not my cat. This is Rhea, our neighbor's cat, who is here for her treats. Talk about craving. Mm-hmm. What do you do? So what do? You saw the mind. Yes, you did. You saw it go to the sound I liked, or you saw it go to the thought about, or you saw it go to some self-making form. I do, I don't, I will, I won't, you know, uh, and then what? What do you do? What's the practice for you?
When you ask for the response,
Yeah.
you know, don't get to that point where you need to start over. For me, it's just full circle. So this comes back to compassion, gratitude, and go from there.
Yeah. Larry said, in case you didn't hear him, that for him, it's just coming back. That's first coming back into the present moment, back to one's clear seeing, still silent, present self, and the response. And then the response that we act or don't, right? We have to be careful about this idea of response, because we often think of it as an action, right? And it is actionable, by the way, so that's not wrong. And it begins with the conception. It begins with a quality of heart mind. And that's the liturgy. It says before it's born, before it takes its appearance, before it can show up, it's got to be a quality, a conception. I love the word of heart mind. And then it shows itself, doesn't it? It makes its appearance, whatever that is then. And I trust that really very deeply. I trust the pause. I trust how do I know this myself, not just in those others, right? How do I know this greed, this fear, this distress, this rushing, this crazy? How do I know it? And what's the response? What's the response?
One of the things I heard on a Rich Roll said it, I think, but he posed the question, and maybe this came from someone else. I heard it on his podcast, and I've been diving deep into it and almost anchoring back into it every time the craving or the eating or the wanting or the addiction stuff comes up. Is, am I a human being looking for a spiritual experience, or am I a spiritual being having a human experience? And coming back to I am a spiritual being having a human experience makes it easier for me to allow to shed, to let that follow, to remember coming back into the, oh yeah, this is all this human bullshit.
Yes.
It's not.
It's guaranteed to get me trouble, right? And it is guaranteed, right? Whatever the craving, whatever the gotta have it, gotta get it, everybody's got their prime rib, right? I don't care, right? I don't care if you think you're vegan or not, because that's just as much the clinging. That's just as much the grabbing, right? That's just, and can we see the quality of that mind and its result? And it is always suffering. It is. And I saw it yesterday in the parking lot, and I saw it in myself as I didn't want that, right? Even that part, the mind that doesn't want is as much the wanting mind as the person that wants the prime rib, right? And we as spiritual practitioners can often go into that spiritual bypassing or high road, I call it, by going, well, look at all those dopes over there chasing after the prime rib while I'm right here chasing after ease or peace or well-being, or right. And what's the whole point of the liturgy? The liturgy says, no, forget about it, be it. Forget about all the thinking about it. Forget about all the hoping it was over there. Be it, right? Be it. So be the peace, be the light. This is the call. And it's in every spiritual. I don't care, again, what your tradition. It says, right, that. And how do we do that? And the truth is, I don't know how to do it. And that's just me. This mind body does not know how to do it without practicing that. I rest in it every day to remember that I am a spiritual being in human form. And then I don't grab, grip, and tighten up around that.
I think one of the things that's done for me, and it just kind of hit me as you were speaking, was it gives me that quick opportunity to be compassionate.
Yes, it does.
So you were talking about the resisting and be like, these idiots.
Yeah,
I don't want that. I don't want that.
Right.
Or spiritual beings with experience, all these people have experience.
I know this.
And
Right.
there's that moment you can have
Yes.
compassion before you get sucked back into that
Yes.
spiritual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. The spiritual seeking. So I don't know if, could you hear Brad say, there is a practice that says, and just like me. To open us, right? This, whatever it is, however murderous, however pornographic, however, and just like me, this human experience, right? This human experience, just like me. And then that's the getting bigger that we've been talking about. It actually shifts the brain from fight, flight, not me, ing, othering, we talk about this all the time, into all one whole, right? The light, the oneness, like just like me. Right? We were talking about it at Stretch Zone where I was, and everybody was complaining. The crazy people over there. This is how we got to the crazy people out there. And we were all looking out the window. It was almost like, yeah, it could have been a movie. Really now everybody's going, look at that crazy car and look at that crazy person and look at this. And I said that call, and just like me. And everybody went, right? Just like me. Isn't it true? And when we remember that, can you feel the way it affects the body? It opens the polyvagal. You literally go, right? There's a big change in that. There is no other, it's not true. That's the delusion. Somebody out there doing something else, one more drop in the ocean, just like me, right? Just like me. And if we can hold anything about that in the next couple days, right? Look at the beauty of that practice.
I feel like that, just like me, just opens that door.
Does.
Compassion.
It really does. And you can feel it. I can
Oh, yeah.
literally physically feel the difference between the tight knot of the brainstem versus the just like me, and that shift, really dropping mind into whole embodiment. And so we're going to be saying it a lot. We're going to be saying it. You just like me, them just like me, during this, because otherwise we're defaulting into resentment, complaint, wanting, not wanting mind, and that othering that it is a guarantee to get, and the suffering, by the way, that othering gets us. And I mean all othering. And I know it's hard because I know wrong things happen. I do know it's true. I do know there have been, there's deception and greed, and people have taken things that they shouldn't have taken, and they've done things they shouldn't have done. Just like me is the truth. Is the truth of it. And when we forget, we start to get in a lot of trouble. And that's the self-making mind, isn't it? I somehow immune from that reality. Oh, no. And then I have to remember spiritual beings everywhere, Buddha nature everywhere, in all beings. How do I nurture, support, shine the light on that? How do we do it? Right? This is the call of the season, isn't it? That's what it is. However you celebrate or don't, whatever, right? Not celebrate by that response. What a celebration, the response itself. And just like me, this incarnation, the one that's just right here. Right. And then you have to remember, I have rushed past, I have been rude, not known or not known. Right. I have gone flying by the guy who needed the $5 at any number of times that I know about, and probably infinitely more that I don't even know. Right. Infinitely. I'll tell you one of the funny stories. So I'm at Seaside Market. And for those of you who have ever lived here, Seaside Market, like before any holiday, is the craziest. Whoever lives in San Diego is now at Seaside Market. Right. And if you lived in North, you're at Seaside. So there's nowhere to park. And again, similar, right? A lot of distress. I've got to get my stuff because I got to go. And I'm in there buying pomegranate seeds. Right. Why? Who? Yeah. So I join the mayhem. I got to get the pomegranate seed because I got to make that salad. Already nuts. And I'm watching this kind of insanity. And I have 15 items. And I see the short line. And it says 10 items or less. Now there I am. Yeah. Siobhan's already laughing, right? 10 items, like, is there anything I can kind of let go of right here in line? I'm like, no, I need those biscuits. So I get in line with my 15 items. And now this is just human mind. What am I going to do? I'm deciding, do I try to break this into 2 orders? This first thought, right? Crafty mind, I own it. Like, okay, I can do like the 10, and then I could do like 5. And then that's sort of fair, right? That's not like 15, that's 2. Well, no, that takes longer. That's not really going to be fair. And so now I'm like, and I'm in the struggle, and I've got my basket, I got the 10, I don't know. And so now I'm just about ready to pick up the other 10, and both the cashier and the guy behind me with the 1 bottle of wine, who've watched this struggle, go, just go ahead. Just go ahead. You're taking way too long to sort this thing out. And you just decided you're doing, or you're not, but now you're, I don't know. Should I just go ahead? Just like me. Right? Just like me.
What a
There
neat thing
we
to
are.
have that experience. And
To be
in your
awake
own
to it.
mind, and to be awake to it, for that to happen. And for the other person to be awake to it.
Yeah, that's right.
That doesn't happen.
They
very
watched the
often.
struggle,
Yeah.
and they caught some part of that, just like me. Like, just go ahead. Like, no, we know. And yeah, you're trying to follow the rules, and it's a busy day, and right. And that was their response, which was also quite lovely, because you could have done really very easily, especially the guy with the 1 bottle of wine right there, could have gone, look, lady, get it together. Right? I mean, just get it together, or just let me go, or just get out of the line till you sort this out. I mean, something, but don't stand there with the 22 people behind you going, 15, okay, just go. And by the way, I appreciated the whole moment. Can't we? The clear seeing of that moment. It's spectacular to go, look at this, right? The part of me that thinks I should be entitled, the part of me that's certain I shouldn't. And it's right, how to work that out, really. And it's not because there's an answer in any of this. This is not, I'm not saying get in line, and I'm not saying I'm just saying, can we be open and available to this radiant light of awareness? The awareness itself was and is spectacular. Here's what I got out of that. It isn't worth it to me. That's what I got clear about. It isn't worth it to me. The struggle, the other five, it wasn't worth it to go really, you know, who are you anyway? And really, yeah, you like everybody else thinks they should be able to be in the short line, and it wasn't worth it. And actually, there wasn't anything I needed enough to have to even go through the struggle of it, by the way.
So in retrospect, would you've got just a regular life? What would you've done?
Actually, really, truly, I would have put it all down and walked away. Honestly, there wasn't anything that was going to save a life right there. There wasn't anything I absolutely had to have. The craving fell away. And it was like, I could have smiled and just gone keep it and
Huh.
literally walked away. There wasn't anything there. I just got caught for a moment in the pomegranate mind.
And equally, you could have gone through it and felt a little bad, or waited in the big line, waited a little longer,
Yeah,
found out what you needed, and be
there was
fine.
no right
It's the
action.
struggle.
Yeah.
It-
I
it
just
would've
said,
been
look,
okay either.
yeah.
Either.
Well, once you see clearly, there is no struggle.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't care what you do. You stay in the line, you divide it, you get in the other line, you go home. It doesn't, well, now it's not the point anyway. That's just incarnation of what? Clear mind and open-heartedness. It could have been any of those things. I would have just let it go, truthfully, because it just washed through me as this is the nature of craving. And
This comes to mind like a moment of suffering. Right?
yeah,
When you're in it.
I'm glad my wife went to see
oh,
some.
oh,
She was the 23rd.
That sounds like it.
made Lazy Acres look like a party.
She did. She did say it's a nightmare, but can't wait to tell her.
Oh my, really? And where is the suffering? It's not at Seaside, right? We don't want to mistake that. It's not at Lazy Acres. Right here in your own heart, mind. And once we wake back up to that, then the truth is nothing, no problems. It's not a dilemma. You either wait in the line or you don't wait in the line. You either let the guy go in front of you or you don't let the guy go in front of you. You bow to the cashier. Right now it's all fine. I want you to watch for this in these next several days, because lots of craving, right? We are a consumer-oriented culture with lots of ideas about how things should go, should be, should, right? So here's my prediction. There are going to be 100,000 people on the beach very, very soon. Why? It's supposed to be 70 something degrees tomorrow. So I already see how everybody's gonna go, wow, server, let's go down to the beach.
Crazy low tide.
Uh-huh. Exceptionally, right? Well, we gotta see the low tide. And it's gonna be maniacal down there, right? On Christmas Day. We're supposed to be one of the warmest places tomorrow in the country. Interesting, right? Texas is snowing. There's the Arctic current is moving. We've escaped kind of this thing. Watch what can we enjoy, open to, and not get into it's gotta, right? Craving. Watch and the suffering. And the suffering. So just like me, we all are in moments of craving, and just like me, we all can awaken to it. And then in the awakening, really the response. And then whatever it is, honestly, it's beautiful. It's
I had
beautiful.
a tiny glimpse of it in a funny that way. But I've been watching a lot of BTS, which is a Korean pop group recently, and I cannot tell you the amount of joy it gives me. I cannot tell you. So the craving for, oh, I'm all alone. I don't have a husband. I have nobody to love me. Just going down that stupid
Yeah,
path again,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then in that miserable, like I'm gonna cry and nobody loves me. It's like look at BTS. Like you'll never like I'll never go to Korea or meet them or anything. But just the music, the lyrics, the, their innocence, their youth, their ability to live their full life. It gives you so much joy. And I was like, okay, I could choose to be in like, I don't have anybody, blah,
Yes,
blah,
the I
blah.
don'ts, yeah,
Or I could open up and change my vision of what I want versus what is so freely available to enjoy. You don't
Yes.
have to have it in your pocket. It
That's
doesn't
right.
have to be yours,
that's
but
right.
it's there. And just like that, for a few seconds or a few minutes, and it'll always be there. The music, whether they live, they die, whatever, the music is always there. And you can always go into something that's more expansive and joyful and be happy rather than that clingy. So
That's
it
right.
was just funny because I'm like so down that hole with their music and
Yes,
K dramas that
yes,
it was just a lighter moment of this
yes.
craziness of life.
Uh,
Always wanting to choose something.
This mind is important to know also. So the wanting mind is one side of this clinging craving. So is the not having mind, right? It's the same, it's just different side of the same coin. This time of suffering, I think, is some of the greatest. And I know as a mental health practitioner, of course, I cannot have enough hours in my day to see people because of this. I don't have mind. The other, everybody else has got, but I don't have, whether it's a partner, a house, right? The happy family, and we set everybody up, I have to say, with these Kodak pictures, don't we? But everybody's got the 25 people around this amazing table with, right? That we propagate the craving because that's required in a consumer society. Like you too could have it for $29.99, couldn't you? And then look what happens, which is a lot of people then feel deprived. A lot of people feel like, but I don't have it. I don't have the happy this and the best that, and the suffering from the delusion. That's a delusion, right? It is. And so we have to be careful that we don't fall in to that one side, the not wanting or paucity mind, as well as then, what did Larry say? With gratitude, remember all that we have been gifted. Just the day. Let's start there. The day. And I don't know what's going to be in your day. I just know you have the day. And that is amazing, truly. It is just plain and simple, precious. There's no greater gift for this incarnation than this opportunity to be awake, alive, and loving. And so we'll practice that. And that will require generosity, the first paramita, a lot of patience, and the remembering, just like me, wanting to get where you want to go, just like me, wanting to have a nice beach walk without 45,000 other people on the beach, just like me, wanting time with family or friends, or right, just like me, seeing clearly.
I think the idea of surrender is
That comes with the just like me. We stop trying to get somewhere else, don't we? Like you don't even have to try to fake it. You just go, I know greed, and I know aversion, and I know paucity mind, and I know thinking if only something else were, then I could be whole or happy or at peace. It is not true, because it is not based on a condition anyway. It never is. But don't we all like the idea? Well, you need that idea in some way, because that's what gets you buying whatever you buy. Because I'm going to get that. And I'm going to have it. And by the way, this in no way means that I do not have deep gratitude, because I do, for where I live, for how I live. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I am not confused. I have been extra blessed, well beyond the precious human life, and I am not confused about it. Right? My brother reminds me every time we're on the phone when he goes, "Don't tell me the temperature. Don't tell me the temperature. You're just going to piss me off." And I know why, because he's in -2 today. Right? And here I sit in the sort of 60 degree, right? With my vest on. Yeah. Right. All right, everyone, let's sit for a moment together. We rest in the Advent then once again, right? Because every moment is the Advent, isn't it? Every moment we are just in the arrival. We are in the process of the becoming. Every moment. The Buddha himself says there is only suffering if we cling to any part of the moment, the beginning, the middle, or the end. So can we rest simply like this, letting the in-breath be the in-breath, not clinging to anything, don't hold that breath, allowing the pause, that's the transition, and fully abiding the out-breath. All the way back, again and again, forever again, to the still, quiet presence, clinging to nothing, rejecting nothing, holding to nothing. You, just like me, want to be happy. You, just like me, want to be free from distress, from illness, from loneliness, from fear, from craving, from all suffering. You, just like me, having infinite blessings. And may we all rejoice and be glad. And wish equal blessings for all beings. And may we rest and dwell in that wide open, spacious, all embracing heart mind. Free from all affliction, from all self and other making, from the delusion that just one more thing, one more circumstance, one more moment, one more something will finally allow us the ease to show up. And may we enjoy this season of darkness to light and be that very light we seek. May it be so this very day. So be it. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. I think Kwanzaa's around the corner here. Happy Advent. And may we all be happy and well. And don't go to the beach tomorrow. I'm joking. Don't
Make
go-
him wanna go.
Yeah, makes you want to go. Supposed to be an
It's been
exceptional,
in the afternoon.
exceptional day.
early afternoon.
Enjoy it, everyone,
Good,
however
change.
you
It's
do.
been
like
mostly
2:00.
afternoon. Yeah,
Two?
2, 3.
Two.
The low tide.
It,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
it's like King High,
Afternoon.
around 9, and then-
Well,
Everyone-
yeah, and then you gotta watch out because if it's foggy, we was gonna do that yesterday with Bandit. And no sooner I was like, oh yeah, got myself all ready, go to get in the car, and there's that fog, and I
It
went,
really
oh,
came
forget
in,
it.
the fog came in. They're saying low tide tomorrow is 2 to 3 o'clock. It's the time I'm imagining a lot of people will be dropping in. So just make sure you're careful if you're heading for that. We will be walking the lagoon
Uh-huh.
tomorrow.
No, I have.
And so whatever you choose to do, enjoy, enjoy this beautiful place we live and each other
Well,
as best you can. Good to see you all.
Nazarene.
Everyone, take good care. Yes, Robin, hello.
Happy holidays, everyone. Peaceful and safe.
Yes, that's the key. That's the key. Thank you all so much. We'll see you on Tuesday morning at 7. I'll be teaching this Thursday at 7 as well. And we will then be back here in the garden on Saturday, which I don't think is it New Year's Eve? I guess it is.
Yeah.
New Year's
New
Eve
Year's Eve.
morning.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so I understand how that might go. It'll be wonderful to see you all. All right, happy holy season, everyone. Enjoy.
Loving light, everyone. Loving light.
Yes, to you as
Be
well.
well, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.
I just